Hello, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's classic is quite an unmistakable front end on these cars, but this is a Ford Thunderbird from 1965. That makes it a fourth generation car, featuring the 6.4 litre FE V8 engine. Runs absolutely sweet as. It's just been treated to fresh oil, genuine Ford filter. The cam rocker covers have been off. All the oil waves have been cleaned out, and all the tappets are adjusted, and it's running very nicely. Having just taken it on a little spin around the countryside, I can tell you that it stops, starts, moves very nicely. 3-speed automatic gearbox, and I can vouch for having just driven it in all of those 3 gears, and it reverses too. It displays 95,000 miles, and actually for a car from 1964, I think it deserves to have that sort of mileage. Now, we know a little about this car. I'm actually selling it on behalf of one of my storage customers. He hasn't had the car a great deal of time, but he has stumbled across his dream American classic. So even though we're storing it for him, we're also helping him to sell it too. So this is what we call a commission sale. Now, the nice thing about this is the car was spotted online somewhere, and the current owner had been in touch with the previous owner who bought this car in 1976 when he was in the Air Force in America. He brought it over to the UK when he was posted here in the UK, and in 1991, that's when he went back to the US. It was a bit expensive for him to take this car home, and I guess they didn't really have the value that they have these days, and so it stayed in the UK from 1991. In his time, he was aware of the car being in pretty excellent order. He looked after the car very well, and he was aware that the repaint happened, and it's in a Ford Thunderbird authentic colour for this year. It looks stunning actually, despite the fact that if you really wanted to take it to the shows, you'd probably consider a respray. But if you wanted to just repair a few areas, which I'm going to show you, it's perfectly drivable as is. He's also heard about the fact that the black vinyl roof was fitted around that time of the, it's an older restoration basically, and the interior was fully retrimmed, including the trunk. Now, we have kind of done this in 2 halves because I think it's a very good idea to have a look underneath certain classic cars, and there is another video which purely has about 8-10 minutes on the undercarriage of the car, showing you that she is in fact a solid old girl. It is a Florida car, which helps a great deal, but bearing in mind the car has been in the UK since 1991, so the usual rigours of our roads do take their toll on cars. But please, by all means, have a look at the undercarriage video to get an idea of what she's like underneath. But she is just absolutely totally usable as is. You can hop in, you can drive her. Now, I think I left the trunk ajar so I can show you a little inside. Huge, as you would expect, but pretty respectable condition in there. Looks like it's had a carpet set, and it looks like someone's installed a CD and a radio in the back. I can't say about any of this necessarily working, but I do hear when you stop the car the beep beep that the Sony units make. Obviously there's the spare. So huge boot, and it all looks in pretty nice order in here. Let's shut that down, and that's the key. And let's have a look around the car. So we're going to start at the back. The chrome work is very respectable. The rear valance of this car is also in very nice order. It's a low-flying Chinook over there, that's what that noise is. And we're going to start maybe panel by panel. This is a vast panel. Wow, that is low. Just above the trees. That war hasn't broke out and nobody told me. Where was I? Back to the video. So here we are at the rear trunk level. It's in good condition. There's no paint required here. This could be absolutely used as is. We're at the offside rear wing. There's been some paint that's been touched in along here, so it looks like it's had a little scrape. But down at the low level, if I get down very low, there's maybe a little scratch down here. But actually, if this was polished up, I think this whole panel would look pretty respectable. I think the vinyl roof looks to be in good condition, as does the glass and rubber seals. This door, which is the passenger side door, if I get close, that's had a little scrape here, but other than that, that's looking pretty respectable with a couple of touch-ups. And if I show you at this angle, I'm afraid there are one or two dents along this panel, but nothing epic. It's only when you're getting really close do you notice. This front wing, which is the offside front wing, even down at the bottom, looks to be pretty good. A little bit of a paint crack in the paintwork here if I get in really close. Top of the wing, very nice. And now I'm moving to the front. Now, generally, I've got a little bit of a issue with the chrome on that corner, but other than that, this front panel is looking pretty respectable. A little bit of chrome off here, but again, it's nice and straight, and it's predominantly in pretty good order, this front bumper section, as is the rather huge bonnet. A little dent here, but it's pretty vast and it's in good order. This air intake looks really smart, and those double headlamps with low lights, it just looks so cool. It's a bit boxier, the Generation 4, but every bit of Thunderbird is very noticeable when you see these angles. Tyres are good all round. It's got a set of correct Thunderbird wheel trims. This wing is in pretty good order, definitely very passable. Now this door at the low level, we've got some corrosion, and this needs a repair. The paint is cracked, and in fact the bottom of that door is in need of a repair to make it lovely. And the worst bit on the car is something I've also shown on the other video. You can see it's a little bit nasty on this end of the sill, but actually the sills themselves structurally very good, but I think that deserves a bit of a repair. In fact, you could probably paint both sides up to sort of one of these swave lines, and it would make a big difference on this car. Or, as I say, you could drive it exactly how it is. Now, the car hasn't been MOT'd since 2019, so it's been run MOT exempt. So for that reason, it looks as if money has been spent on the car, which I'll run through in a minute, but just be aware that is the case. It's a bit grotty at the back of this panel. Let me just see if I can flip the phone around so you can see what I can see. So a little bit of a crack, repair required on this rear wing. But otherwise, if you look at it at a different angle, and we're back to that panel again. So that's a look on the outside of the car. It has had quite a bit of money spent on the car in regards to, I've noticed it's got a new heavy duty battery, it's got a new steering box so it steers very precisely, it's got new shock absorbers on the rear, it's got new exhaust tail pipes obviously at the rear, it's got new lower ball joints that I can see. It looks to have had some brake work done as well, so I think the car has actually been maintained quite nicely, and it probably is why it drives so well. But there we are. This is the interior, and I think it is pretty stunning considering the age of this old car. But I've been told that a previous owner confirmed that it was actually fully retrimmed when it had a restoration done a number of years ago, and it's very respectable, including carpets and correct Ford Thunderbird mats. A little party trick, so it's easier to get in, you'll notice that you can pull the steering wheel into the middle, and you do that actually, for those who want to know, when it's in park it allows you to move, and when it's hands off it, it doesn't. Excellent dashboard, love these dashboards. Here's the miles per hour, and there's a little marker that runs up so you know how fast you're going. Oil, fuel, temperature and ammeter, which appear to work. There's a light switch, and down at the end of the let me see, if you see those, and then one over there, that's the telltale lights to show you that your lights are on. This is almost like aircraft style. These are little levers to give you air left and right, and then the washers and wipers are here. This stereo looks fantastic, but sadly it doesn't appear to work. But it does have its working fan, and it does actually blow out some nice cool air, which is what you're going to need when you're cruising in a big car like this. I noticed the front electric windows seem to work perfectly well, and there's those really cool little quarter lights in and out, and that all looks rather smart as well, and they are controlled from here. Now I couldn't get these rear windows working, which I think would just work usually off that little switch, but I can assure you the front ones are working perfectly well, as are the quarter lights. Very good headlining throughout, lots of nice features, really nice condition inside. So I'd say from an interior point of view, this is a real sort of 8 out of 10 interior, and the bodywork is a 6 out of 10, moving towards a 7. If I was not able to see the bottoms and some of these repairs, it wouldn't take much to get that looking better, but you would be looking at some bodywork repairs and some paint, but that is heavily reflected in the price point. So folks, just to summarize, this is a tax and MOT exempt Ford Thunderbird generation 4 from 1964, a 6.4 litre V8 FE engine, 3-speed automatic. It does drive, it does stop, it goes around corners very nicely, and there's lots of new parts which tell me somebody has actually looked after the car rather nicely. Now the car is by no means a show winner. It could be improved, it could be driven exactly how it is, but actually I think these cars are becoming rarer and rarer, and prices have been going up. So actually I think this one needs grabbing at this price point, because it is a very usable car, and the other video I've done will show you how solid she is underneath. So thank you very much for walking around this car with me for the last 12 minutes. If you require any information, please get in touch through the usual channels. I'll be delighted to help you. We have a very reliable transport guy who can take these heavy vehicles and deliver them anywhere in the UK. We just need to have your postcode for a quote. We can look at potentially trading in your classic, modern or light commercial vehicle. We'd need to know details, obviously. We can give you an idea of what the trade-in price might be. Now the car itself really just needs to be seen to be appreciated. I believe I've been very fair and given you a warts and all display of this lovely old Thunderbird. You can see from the colour she's going to look great with all that chrome. The interior is really good, and she's very respectable looking when you walk around the car at this sort of pace. I got in really close and I was pointing out all the bits and pieces you'd probably look at yourself if you was here looking at the car. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. It's been a pleasure driving and looking around this car today, having her on the ramp and hearing about the previous owner. It's been really interesting just knowing the history of these lovely old cars. So this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, signing out.